US 95. Yeah. Alright, we got a good one today. A nice long road, US 95. If you like high desert, then this is the episode for you. Alright, let's take a look at the route. We see US 95 starts at the Canadian border and makes it all the way to the Mexican border. It's one of the few roads that does that entire run, and it's kind of interior west the whole way. I believe it's the longest road in Idaho and the longest road in Nevada, and the only road to go from the Idaho Panhandle to the Boise-ish area, and the only one to go from the Reno-ish area to Vegas. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about highways and the places that they're signed to go to. If you dig this kind of content, why not give us a like? And if you really like it, why not subscribe? Yeah, subscribe. We've got some cool stuff going on at the Patreon. You can still sign up and get the $5 Super Like promo for as long as you have the Patreon subscription until the end of this year. But once you have it for good. You can also request exits the old-fashioned way with a $5 super sticker, and I will talk about upcoming videos in the video description right down there. Alright, today we are only talking about southbound US 95. So let's begin. So here we are in British Columbia, Canada, and we see this sign. The last kind of major highway that Canada 95 meets is US border ahead, and that's the only control city we're getting. And we're getting Vancouver, which is really far away from where we are, down a 2-lane road, so that's quite a swing. And on the mileage sign, we are getting USA Border 11, Bonners Ferry 60, and Coeur d'Alene, the first sort of big place we hit, 183. Here we are at the Canadian-US border heading into Idaho, and here is the proper start of US 95 once going through immigration and customs and all. Here's our first southbound US 95 reassurance shield. Beautiful mountains and whatnot up here. And in Idaho, our control cities are not the same as they were in BC. Now we're getting Junction State Highway 1, Bonners Ferry 30, and Sandpoint 63. So they kind of emphasize Sandpoint quite a bit. We've got lots of cool scenery, Wild Horse Trail right here. And we're going to be beating US 2. So US 2, we get Bonners Ferry and Sandpoint straight ahead. As always seems to be on these US highways, US 2 is going to be the first thing we hit. And we are concurrent with US 2 heading toward Bonners Ferry right here. And now we will split with US 2 and we're getting Coeur d'Alene and Spokane. Wow, Spokane on there. And here we are still in Sandpoint. We were in the last picture too. That's where we split, and we see Sandpoint downtown right lane as well. And we kind of see the back of downtown Sandpoint from this vantage point on the other side of that river. And now we cross a very wide river that I am not going to attempt to pronounce. It looks like quite something. And now we're in the Coeur d'Alene area. We're meeting I-90, so 90 East, Kellogg. Come on. Should be Missoula, obviously, and 90 West, Post Falls, and Spokane. We are on 95 South for Moscow and Lewiston. And over here we can see Lake Coeur d'Alene. This is actually the river, but we can see the lake through that little inlet over there. And now we have an opportunity to go to downtown Coeur d'Alene, but we are going to head south for Moscow. And we see Moscow is on the bottom line at 60 miles away. And here we are in Moscow on the outskirts of it, and we continue south 95 off of Main Street, so we won't go right through downtown, but we'll go through a downtowny area. And here we are in the downtown-ish section of Moscow, and we see that Troy and Lewiston straight ahead, Pullman, Washington. So, I wonder if University of Idaho and Wazoo play off. Maybe they will be playing more often in the future, since the Pac-12 is done. From this vantage point, we can see into Washington State, kind of just beyond those power lines would be Washington State. We are extremely close to it at this point. Now we're going to be meeting US 12, so US 12 signed for Missoula and Boise, so they can sign 12 for Missoula, but they can't sign I-90 for Missoula? Weird. 12 West, Lewiston, and Walla Walla. This exit was requested by Blaine K on the Patreon, and Blaine also likes saying Walla Walla. It's fun, and thank you so much for that request. And after being concurrent shortly, we are going to split from US 12, so we will go straight toward Boise, and US 12 will leave for Missoula. There's a whole lot of scenic bypass sort of things on this road in Idaho, so here's another one. I didn't take pictures of all of them because there were quite a lot. You can tell it's a pretty beautiful road. And now we enter a section where we are stuck with old Street View, which is a little annoying. This from 2008 or something. They really need to update this. This right here is the town of Bundy. The whole thing. And we drive along the Salmon River, and it is still very old Street View that we're getting here, but it does look kind of cool with the old pictures. And we are going to change time zones here, so we will be entering mountain time. I believe mountain time at this point. Here we're meeting US 30 West, so that will be signed for Ontario, and we are signed straight ahead for Parma and Winnemucca. Where did Boise go? They stopped mentioning Boise. That's kind of weird. And now 30 will split off eastbound, and it is signed for New Plymouth. We're signed for Parma, Winnemucca. And we're going to meet I-84. It's signed for Ontario and Boise. And on I-84, US 95 is signed for Payette and Parma. So I guess this Parma must be sort of a big deal. Payette is the bigger of the cities, though. So now we are signed for Parma and Winnemucca. So Winnemucca signed from way, way out for not being a very big place. And right here, we are going to cross the Snake River. So that's pretty cool. Now we're meeting Idaho 19. It's signed for Homedale and Adrian, and we are signed now for Marsing and Jordan Valley, so Winnemucca has gone away. And here we get Winnemucca, 220 miles away, and we were signed for quite a ways before this, so you're getting super long distance control cities for a place that really isn't that big. I think it's signed from that far away. Probably be better just to sign Reno, because we're meeting I-80 at Winnemucca anyway, and we're concurrent with 80 for a while, and 80 goes to Reno. I think Reno, if we're going from that far out, is what we should be talking about. And here we are in southern Idaho, far southern Idaho, and this was requested by Tyler Mershond, and he wanted to see this because he says it's almost like a roller coaster, this little section. It's got a bunch of bumps and whatnot, and it's much more fun going downhill, but we're going uphill, it looks like, right here. I thank you so much for that. He requested that on the Patreon, so thanks a lot. Here is the border with Oregon, and that is not a Welcome to Oregon sign that we see there. That's some national forest or something, so really nothing in the way of a Welcome to Oregon sign. Pretty weak. We meet Highway 78, Oregon Highway 78, and we will continue toward McDermott and Winnemucca. This is kind of interesting. In Jordan Valley, in this area, we have a wall here that was a fronton. It said Pelota Fronton, so I was like, did they have High in Oregon, in this rural area of Oregon? And it seems this whole area was settled by Basque people, this kind of middle of nowhere Oregon section. So that's pretty interesting here too. There's a town called Basque that we passed before too long as well. Tyler Mershond wanted to see this as well. These are the Rome curves. I went with slightly different coordinates than the ones that he sent me because I wanted to get more of a stretch where we can see the road all the way over to the left and sweeping around and heading all the way over to the right. So very curvy, pretty cool looking over here near Rome, Oregon. Tyler Mershond also wanted to see the Rome pillars. This is quite a ways off of US 95. He showed me an area where it's kind of near it, but you couldn't quite see it, so I decided to just show a picture of the Rome pillars themselves because they are quite cool looking. So thank you for those requests. I really appreciate both of those, and all those on the Patreon. And our time in Mountain Time has finished. We are heading back into Pacific Time, so interesting to be on a north-south road that crosses the time zones twice. Oregon was a little flaky with it, but Nevada is nice enough to welcome us in, so here we get our Welcome to Nevada sign. If you didn't see the Welcome to Nevada sign, you would notice the casino right on the state line, as well as I think every state line in Nevada has that kind of thing going. Quite a lot of traffic here on this part of US 95. It looks like there was a construction thing going on when they did this street view. I saw there was a flagman or something, so that was down to one lane for a portion. And we still have Winnemucca on the bottom line at 73 miles away. We meet some smaller other state highways, but yeah, still sticking with Winnemucca. And we see Winnemucca is prepared for our business, so we will be approaching it soon. When we get to Winnemucca, we start by going right under I-80. We don't have our interchange with I-80 here. We've got to go through downtown first, and then we meet 80 on the other side. So here we are heading through downtown Winnemucca, so we see 80 for Elko one way, and 95 for Fallon, and 80 for Reno the other way. So we will turn there. And here's where we actually meet I-80, and we see we will be signed for Reno once we get on I-80 itself. The US 95 signage disappears. At random interchanges, we get Winnemucca going the other way and Lovelock instead of Reno at random interchanges. So that's pretty weak, Nevada. On I-80 itself, we're getting Lovelock 70, which is basically the only thing that we pass through before we get to the US 95 split. And then US 95, then Reno. In Lovelock, we get 80 for Reno, so we don't get any other random towns signed along the way. We get US 95 signed south for Fallon and Las Vegas, so that is awesome, good signage there, signing both of those. And we see Fallon straight ahead, and if you were going the other way on I-80, we're getting Lovelock again. Weird. And Fallon is going to be the first city on the line because there's really nothing between here and there, and it's 33 miles away. Las Vegas, 416, wow. Quite a distance for that. Here we are in Fallon, where we meet US 50, the loneliest road in America. US 50 signed for Ely and Carson City. We are going to be signed for Las Vegas, so we're turning right here. And Fallon, actually 10,000 people or so, is the largest place that we pass through between north of the Boise Metro and Vegas itself. US 95 is kind of the opposite of I-95, very unpopulated. Here's where we split from US 50, and we are now going to be signed for Las Vegas, turning left. Las Vegas will be our bottom line city for the forthcoming future, and 374 miles away at that. Here we pass by Walker Lake, which when I saw on the map I expected might be dry, but this being Nevada and all, but now it's a pretty big lake right there. I guess northern Nevada we still get some water up here. See some snow-capped mountains as well. And on US 95, we're going to make a left turn, and we see we are going to be signed for Tonopah in Las Vegas now. So Tonopah becomes our secondary, and it's 103 miles away. And then out here, we meet US 6, kind of in the middle of nowhere right here. So meeting another great highway and a pretty desolate spot. We follow US 6 into Tonopah, and oh man, why would anybody ever want to stay there? That's the scariest looking thing I'd ever seen. Oh my god. And we head out of Tonopah. The clowns didn't get us, and we have Las Vegas 208 miles away now. We will now split with US 6 going to Ely as well, and we are signed for Las Vegas. Mercury, 1/2 mile, no services. Pretty rough out here. And now we're getting closer because we're signed Las Vegas and Pahrump. And this right here, this will be our last at-grade intersection for some time. We're not going to see another at-grade intersection until we leave I-11 in Boulder City. So here we are getting Clark County 215 with its total lack of control cities, once again, that we saw not long ago. And we're starting to get some big ramps and interchanges up here where we get Centennial and Road, Rancho Drive. And this could be a control city here, but it can't be on 215. That's a little weird. This neighborhood in Vegas that I mispronounced in the previous episode, so I have learned to pronounce it now, but I'm not gonna. And we're getting US 95 South Las Vegas, US 95 North Reno when we come off of that particular road that we saw a minute ago. We're heading for I-15, by far the largest interchange that US 95 is going to see in its entire run. Probably the largest one I-15 does too. Inland Empire, they have some big ones too. So we get 15 for Salt Lake City and Los Angeles, and we are signed south for downtown Las Vegas. And we join with 515. We gain the 515 designation here. So here's a look at that interchange. You can see it's quite big, quite complex. For some reason, somebody has a business within the ramps itself there. So we head right past downtown. We get pretty good views of downtown Las Vegas from 515/US 95. And now here's our exit for downtown Las Vegas and Casino Center Boulevard. And we've got the Las Vegas Strip on the next exit. And here's another good shot of downtown. We see Binion's Horseshoe right there and Las Vegas Boulevard for this exit. And right here we can actually see down Las Vegas Boulevard all the way to the Stratosphere, which is where the Strip will start. And we see also that at this interchange we're signed as US 95 South. They're ignoring 515 and going with the old designation. And here is where we meet 215, and we don't get anything. I have no idea why they don't have some kind of pull-through here. They do have room for it, where we could be signing I-11 or, 95, 93 where it used to be or something. 515's ending, they should tell us something here. But we get 215 West with no control cities, Lake Mead Parkway. And here's another look at the actual interchange, and we can see, once again, we have no pull-through whatsoever, even though we are changing numbers officially right now. Although later, I-11 will go into downtown, so it won't be a change. On 215's ramp, we've looked at this before in a couple of episodes, so we see 515, 9395 North Las Vegas, 11, 9395 South Boulder City. I also think it's a little lame that it's Phoenix downtown, but then Phoenix goes away. And here's another random interchange onto I-11 and US 93 and 95, and still same signage. We're getting a sign for US 93 Business, Boulder City Parkway, and 11, 93, and 95 for Kingman, although 95 is going to leave at the very next exit. Here is our exit for US 95, and we get Searchlight and Boulder City. And we see we're getting Boulder City because that loops us back over toward Business 93, and 95 South itself, Searchlight. I've always kind of wondered about Searchlight. Seems like an interesting interesting city name. And out here, it is just desert. This is a dry lake bed that we are crossing right here. And Searchlight is 35 miles away, Laughlin Junction 54, and then we get to Needles, California, a ways down. And here is Searchlight. This is what Searchlight looks like. I don't know, I was expecting something a little different somehow. And more look at Searchlight. I feel like US 95 is too wide of a road for Searchlight. Maybe if it was more compact, it might look a little different. Maybe it gets busy, I have no idea. And here is our Laughlin intersection, so you can turn here to go to Laughlin, which I've been to before, it was fun, and Needles straight ahead. And we get thanks for visiting Nevada and a welcome to California sign in pretty bad repair here. So here is US 95 in California crossing the desert. We go down to 2 lanes now that we're in California. And we're meeting I-40, so we are getting signed for Needles and Barstow. Places everybody's going, yeah? Get Needles 9, so 40 and 95 will be concurrent and head together to Needles. And now we're getting Needles, Kingman, and Flagstaff on our signs here. And we get South 95, Needles, and East Broadway, and also for Blythe. Blythe, 96 miles away, that's another California desert town, the one where I-10 goes. And woo, next service is 49 miles. Not much out here. Here's what it looks like crossing through this section of desert. It is quite nice looking. And we're going to be meeting Vidal or Vital soon, and that is where we finally will have services. But we skipped ahead to Blythe, and that's where we're meeting I-10. So we're heading I-10 east and south US 95. And on I-10, we're getting Wickenburg, Phoenix, and Tucson. So Caltrans, all of a sudden you can make a good mileage sign now that there's no California cities left to sign. When we're signing another state, you can suddenly do it. Blech. And here is the Colorado River, and we are crossing over into Arizona at this point. We get this Arizona state line. Might be a nicer sign down the road, but I didn't check. And shortly across the border, we are exiting I-10, and we are signed for Parker and Yuma. And this is actually in Quartzsite, so I don't know why Quartzsite's not signed. So you head off the ramp, and you get out onto Quartzsite. You have to kind of do a 270-degree turn around a ways to get back to proper US 95. We see we've got Proving Ground 60 miles away, and Yuma 81. Not much out here. This is where we cross I-10, quite a ways away from where we got off I-10. Here's some agriculture in southern Arizona as we head toward Yuma. And in Yuma, we're meeting I-8. So we get I-8 West San Diego and I-8 East Phoenix. And we're going to have a I-8 Reboot coming soon in a couple of weeks here. So that'll be cool. So here we are driving through Yuma, and we get south US 95, turn left. Down here, we're so far south in Arizona that right here where we're looking at, Mexico is actually north of us. Pretty amazing. It's like the part in Detroit where Canada is to the south. And here we are in Gadsden, Arizona, named after the Gadsden Purchase, which this is part of. And now we are going to get to the border here. So right here is our border inspection area. And here's another look at that. You have to loop quite the ways around to get back to there. So I decided this will do right here. All right, let's talk about Todd's the way it should be for US 95. I'm going to say it should be southbound, Bonners Ferry, Coeur d'Alene, Moscow, Lewiston, Boise, Payette. Payette's a big enough place, I think it's worth signing here. But then from there, I would say Reno and not Winnemucca. Why sign Winnemucca for almost 300 miles when you could sign Reno for almost 400? Reno, everybody knows it. Why not? And then Fallon, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Needles, Blythe, Phoenix again. So the Phoenixes are, I would sign it Phoenix when we're on that 515 I-11 thing or whatever, because it was signed Phoenix downtown originally. So why not just keep that? Needles when we get off of I-11, Blythe, and then Phoenix once we're briefly on I-10. Obviously I-10 would be signed for Phoenix, and then we'd be signed for Yuma once we leave I-10. And then Mexico. There's no real big city in Mexico right there. Mexicali is not too far away, but it would be a convoluted route to get there, so I think just Mexico would do. All right, thank you so much for watching this episode of Control City Freak. This has been quite an exciting journey down US 95. Love to drive it all myself one day. I've been only on small portions of it, but it looks great from end to end. Thank you so much for watching, and my name is Todd. Till next time, keep on trucking.